Right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, call law, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, KAKADASH, double honors to the Apostle of Israel, aka the Apostle of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim to continue to preach the truth and all true sincerity. All right, so got this article from Iran International, and this is from January 17th, which is what, yesterday. Hold on. Excuse me. It's from yesterday, and the article reads as caused by Iran. Now, what I want to get into is two things actually. This issue with Iran, and you also have the thing going with America and Greenland and Europe, and the whole thing with trying to take over the land of Greenland because Trump said we need that. Now, it's the thing that's happening now is that America is now talking about putting tariffs on their own allies that are coming against the program of them taking over Greenland. So, as far as prophecy goes, there's a lot of things taking place to where like it shows that like what's happening right now, that the Bible is the truth. Now, it says public pressure for a U.S. military strike on Iran has sharpened as President Donald Trump threatens action but holds back, leaving many Iranians torn between demanding intervention and fearing that continued delay will only extend repression and bloodshed. Because, you got the whole thing going on with the protest going on in Iran, which they say might be set up by the Amalek. But as is right now, you have protests and uproars going on, which is also prophecy that the Lord said was going to be happening in the last days. You was going to have uproars of the people throughout the earth. And this is what you see right now. You even have uproars in America. You got uproars in other parts of the world. You got uproars in Russia. You got uproars in Europe. So like this thing is getting to it. And then ultimately you have what? The third world being prepared. The MOT being prepared, the mark of the beast. All these things being prepared goes to show that we at the end. It says, among Iranians inside the country and across the diaspora, the pause is increasingly interpreted not as restraint, but as a dangerous limbo, because they were saying that the attack on Iran is inevitable. All right, so you go into the word inevitable. Hold on, let's go into that real quick. I've been seeing that word inevitable and imminent. Inevitable. When you go into the word inevitable, it's from the Latin inevitabilis, which means unavoidable, unavoidable, go out the way. So basically means unavoidable. So they basically saying that an attack on Iran from the U.S. or Israel, Amalek, or whatever, is unavoidable, and that they're going to eventually have to do it. And they were saying that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, remember, they already attacked them towards the end of the summer of last year. In June, you had the 12-day war. So they're saying that they hearing that Iran is still preparing a nuclear program, which means what? They're saying we're going to have to attack them again. And I think in the article, that's what Trump said. And he says, calls for decisive military action are now openly framed as a necessary step to halt executions and mass violence, while hesitation is seen as compounding an already unbearable strain. So this is what's going on right now. They talk about executing people over there in Iran. And remember, Trump said that if Iran executes people, that the U.S. is gonna intervene and aggressively. It says in Persian language commentary, because the Iranians are the actual ancient Persians. They're the modern day Persians. Okay. So it says in Persian language commentary circulating widely online, Trump's posture is described as calculated ambiguity rather than caution. It says Trump's public gestures, including a post thanking Iran's leadership and authorities for not executing detained protesters, are dismissed by critics as deliberate misdirection. They say their aim is to buy time while the United States strengthens its offensive and defensive military position in the Persian Gulf. So basically buying time, because he said what? It's inevitable. And remember, it's prophecy. So that's why it's inevitable, because prophecy is inevitable. You can't stop prophecy. And you already have prophecy coming to pass. You already have prophecies. You already have the prophecies jumping out the pages right now in real time. It says the shadow of a Trump attack on Iran has not disappeared. He uses his intelligence for deception more than anything else. And remember, this is the Lord. Man, this is the Lord doing it, putting on. Hold up, let me get a quick preset. It's that Proverbs chapter 21. There's the book of Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1, and it reads, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whatsoever he will. So this is the Lord doing this. This is Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, putting this in Trump's mind to do this, putting this in the Iranian president, Russian president Putin, Chinese president, all these niggas. They're good. These other nations, guys, is not having them do this because why? These other nations, none of them are happy about what's going on right now, and none of them are praising their God for what's going on. I don't hear the Ghazians and the Palestinians and whatnot praising Allah for what's going on right now. But you know who you do hear praising? The followers of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. They're praising the Lord because why? Our Lord is the one true living God. And the one true living God has set out and wrote, had the prophets write centuries ago the things taking place now was going to take place. There's no other religion that has prophecy that's talking about, is fitting exactly the events taking place as we speak. So that's how we know that the word is faithful and true. Just like Yahushua said, my words are faithful and true. I tell you the truth. What is this thing called? The truth. So yeah, I'm gonna read that in NLT. It says, the king's heart is like a stream of water directed by the Lord. He guides it wherever he pleases. So this is where he pleases for these kings' minds to go. Trump, Putin, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un, the Ayatollah of Iran, all these other nations who are not Israelites, he's having them working on their minds and having them do what he wants them to do. Because why? This is the Lord's will. This is the will of Yahawah BaHaShem Yahushua. He said what? For it's my determination to gather the nations. The third will cometh quickly. Muster up the host of the battle. And that's what he's doing. And this is all leading up to the day of the Lord. The whole thing with Iran, the whole thing with China and Taiwan, Russia and Ukraine, the Israel and Iran, the whole thing with the Greenland, the Denmark. That's causing Satan's house to be divided more. That's causing the beast to hate the horde. And now you got this dude Trump talking about putting tariffs on U.S. allies because they're not with them taking Greenland. Now, what kind of ally is that? That you and your feelings were, and you know what, we're gonna put tariffs on y'all now. If y'all not what we trying to do, that sounds like a not so happy camper in the organization. So yeah, so back to the article. It says he is buying time to reach a strong offensive and defensive military position in the Persian Gulf and to decide on a surprise strike at an optimal moment, wrote a user. For many, the conclusion is blunt. Military confrontation is inevitable. There you go, inevitable, unavoidable. This is going to go down. It's just a matter of when. They said an attack on Iran from the U.S., Israel, whatever. They said it's inevitable. And I just went into the word inevitable. It means unavoidable. So they can't avoid this. They can't not do it because it's too far gone. Remember, and also this is prophecy. So yeah, it says, for many, the conclusion is blunt. Military confrontation is inevitable. A military attack on the clerics is inevitable. You shouldn't get too caught up in daily noise. The same fluctuations existed before the 12-day war. The only course is to keep documenting the clerics' crimes and to keep demanding and applying pressure on the United States and Israel for a maximum attack, wrote another one. So what? This is going to happen. Remember, they already attacked them last June. So they're saying that, they might need to do it again. And we knew that. We knew that. It says Trump's own comments have inflamed skepticism. It says we have been told that the killing in Iran is stopping. It has stopped. Excuse me. It's stopping, he told reporters in the Oval Office Wednesday afternoon. And there's no plan for executions or an execution or executions. So I've been told that on good authority we'll find out about it. He also said on Friday, nobody convinced me. I convinced myself. You had yesterday scheduled over 800 hangings. They didn't hang anyone. They canceled the hangings that had a big impact. So that's this devil boasting in his pride. Hold up. Because I always say this dude Trump, he's the best at patting himself on the back. Matter of fact, hold up. Yes, I'm going to just see something. Pride. Well, we got one. I just went into the blue letter and typed in the word pride, and it says, this is the book of Obadiah, which is actually talk about Esau. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3, and it reads, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Because, you got Trump, America, what have you, Esau. They be talking, he be always talking about, like, he's done this, he did this, and we did this, and I accomplished this. I stopped this war, I stopped that war. But yet, it's mad war still going on that you ain't stopped. And the wars you said you did stop, you didn't stop. And if anything, you're starting more war because now you got the whole thing with Greenland, which I'm gonna get into. You got the whole thing with Greenland where they're talking about, if our allies don't want it, we're gonna impose tariffs. And they said it's gonna start off at 10% and escalate to 25%. So 25% tariffs on your own allies, your own Edomite counterparts. Where did that go to show the direction of the country and the direction of the earth and the direction of the geopolitical shit and all of the allies and the NATOs and the EU? So what does that say about these Esau's kingdom? The Lord said, "What a kingdom divided against itself is how shall it stand?" And it seems like as time goes on, it's just more and more divide amongst these Edomites, not just other nations, but I'm talking about amongst Esau. The so-called white race, their countries, their kingdoms, their setups. Because Europe and the EU and United States, those are all Edomites. And then you got beef with other Edomite countries like Russia. You got Turkey and Israel at odds. So this shit is all fucked. And it's all the doings and the will of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Shah, no other God. Because these other nations, they all have their gods and their religions. I don't see them praising their gods and saying that their gods are doing it. But who do you hear saying it? The followers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, saying that our God is having these nations do that. Our God is forcing their hand. The one true living God. What else we got? No, I'm gonna go to hold up. Oops. Going to the book of Isaiah real quick. Because these devils, especially Trump, these elites, they're so deceived and they're so prideful. They don't even know that everything they're doing is leading to their destruction. Like Trump, like people that follow Trump, people that follow these government officials, they don't understand that all of their actions is leading to the downfall of this kingdom, America, and Esau's hold on the earth. Period. All right. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2. I'm starting at verse 11. Yeah, verse 11. It says Isaiah chapter 2, verse 11. And it says, the lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down. And the Lord alone, Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, shall be exalted in that day. And that's the day that's approaching. That's the day we're waiting for, and that's the day that all of these events are leading up to. The day of the Lord, the day of Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus, return. All right? I'm reading the NLT. This is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 11 in the NLT. It says, human pride will be brought low, and human arrogance will be humble. Now, who is more arrogant than Esau? And you got Trump that represents the Edomites. He represents the so-called white man, especially the Americans. Even though they all pissed off, and even though they like, this house is divided, but he still brought that spirit and that mindset for Esau to be all prideful and arrogant. Because you still got people that still follow this man and agree with what he's doing. All right, and it says, yeah, human pride will be brought down, and human arrogance will be humbled. Only the Lord, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, will be exalted on that day of judgment. On that day of judgment, that one day, that day of judgment, that's all these things leading up to. That's why they're getting all these nukes ready. All this civil unrest is happening. All this divide amongst their kingdom is happening. They're getting ready to bring up the MOTB, cashless, digital ID. Everything is in motion. These things the prophecies are rolling, and they're not stopping for no one. No one can stop it. And it's always been prophecy, but now we're almost at the actual end of the story of Esau's rule over Jacob and these other nations being over the Israelites. And now we're coming into the time where now we're about to rule the earth under Yahawashi. Because Yahawashi going to come back and redeem the Israelites, starting with the elect. And then the whole nation of Israel, all so-called blacks, all Native Americans, all Hispanics, all the descendants of Jacob, man. That's on America and on other parts of the earth where we scattered. That's what's about to take place. But the Lord got to put these devils down first. But continuing on, it says, Isaiah chapter 2, verse 12, and it says, and it's funny, the caption, the caption of this verse, it says, a day of reckoning coming. So it says, for the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty. Now, when you hear Trump talk, you don't hear no humbleness. You don't hear no meat. He sounds prideful. He sounds lofty. It says, and upon everyone that is lifted, and it says, and upon everyone that is lifted up, he shall be brought low. And that's what the Lord is doing. Even though Trump is talking that big game, he's talking all prideful, they're still being brought low. Because with all these actions that's taking place, it's putting America in a bad position against on the earth, especially and against their own allies. I'm reading down the NLT as well. So it says, for the Lord of heaven's armies, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, has a day of reckoning. He will punish the proud and mighty and bring down everything that is exalted. And that's what the Lord, he's been doing that to America for years. But now, through the pride of their heart has deceived them. They think they still up top. They think they still the big man on campus. But here it is. But the Lord said, what? Let the weak say I'm strong. You got all these other nations talking back against America, saying that you're not coming through here doing this. And now they doing shit to their own allies. Here it is. They said in Greenland that they said that America had a lot of access to that land, but now they said now we don't want to lease it, we want to own it. That's what they said. They said now we need all of this for America. For national security of America. They don't care. He don't care about the other countries, the other Edomite countries. And that's also pertaining to prophecy, because why? That's Revelation the 17th chapter where it talks about the beast being the NATO, EU, Roman Empire, the whore being America, Babylon the Great. All Esau's kingdom, all the Esau's governments coming against that one East Edomite spot, which is America. Because now the allies of America, their fellow Edomites, they're not feeling what they're doing. They're saying that, hey man, you trying to take away you trying to take over the whole blessing. You trying to take over everything and not leave nothing for nobody else. Yeah, it was cool when you doing that to Jacob and to the other nations, but now you're doing it to your other Edomite counterparts. How's that gonna go over for America and within this and over time? So yeah, let me get one more article. Hold up. Damn it. Trump. Tarrifs. So here we go. So yeah, so we got it says EU ambassador. What article one pick? So you got one that says EU ambassadors to hold emergency talks after Trump threatens tariffs over Greenland. Trump tariff over Greenland unacceptable, European leaders say. And it says Trump's tariff threat over Greenland risk dangerous downward spiral, warn NATO members. So, and these are all a few hours old. Let me see what this one's talking about. See, look at this. Greenland is not for sale. Look at this picture. I guess it's over there in Europe. Fuck. Oh, so you even got U.S. senators against this. This so says U.S. Senator Mark Kelly, a former U.S. Navy pilot and Democrat who represents Arizona, posted that Trump's threatened tariffs on U.S. allies will make Americans pay more to try to get territory we don't need. Troops from European countries are arriving in Greenland to defend the territory from us. Let that sink in, he wrote on social media. So this is an American senator, U.S. senator, talking about European countries are landing in Greenland to defend Greenland from the United States. So that's allies against allies now. It said the damage this president is doing to our reputation and our relationship is growing, making us less safe. If something doesn't change, we will be on our own with adversaries and enemies in every direction. Now hold up. Let's go to Revelation, the 17th chapter. Revelation 17th chapter. I'm going to go right to the point. Nah. I'm starting verse 3. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 3, and it says, So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YAHAWASHI. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Verse 7, And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, and which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life. Hold up. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna jump down to verse 9. It says, And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, which are governments, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. Then that represents the EU, which have received no kingdom as yet, because they rule with America, the whore, the beast. It says, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, because the beast that is sitting upon is the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is now, modernized, and now is America, NATO, EU, if you will. But really, the beast that the lady is sitting on is the Roman Empire. But it all represents Esau's governments. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna jump down to verse 15. And it says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So that's the waters. And it says, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked. Now these is the EU, NATO, but mainly the EU. But the EU and NATO, there's countries in the EU that's also part of NATO, which are also U.S. allies, which are all Edomites. It says, and as these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Because why? Then they go, eventually their own allies are going to attack them. And what did the U.S. Senator, this dude, say? He said, this is what the U.S. Senator Mark Kelly said. It says, troops from European countries, the EU, which is the 10 horns, troops from the European countries are arriving in Greenland to defend the territory from us. Let that sink in, he wrote on social media. Excuse me. The damage this president is doing to our reputation and our relationships is growing. Excuse me. Making us less safe. If something doesn't change, we will be on our own with adversaries and enemies in every direction. And that is the direction America's going. Adversaries and enemies in every direction. You got beef with China, you got beef with Russia, you got beef with the South America, you talk about taking over Cuba, you take Mexico, you got beef with Africa, because you talk about now you cutting off aid to Somalia because whatever the fuck is going on over there. You got beef with the Ishmael, the Arab countries, the Muslim countries, you got beef with Elam, Iran, you got beef with amongst your own allies, your other Edomite counterparts. So the dude, Mark, what is the name? Mark Kelly is right. You're going to have adversaries and enemies in every direction. And that's also prophecy. The beast shall hate the horde. And it said that, that's what is it saying in Jeremiah? Was it Jeremiah, the 50th chapter? Hold up. When it talks about Babylon, it talks about America in here. So there's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 1, and it reads, the word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Now, there's not talk about ancient Babylon. This is going to be talked about in the future. This is a future prophecy, which is Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, it says, declare ye this. It says, declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. Now, those spots in Babylon back then. But when you go into, what is it? It said it should not be in. I'm going to jump down to, hold on. So it's in verse 13. So I'm going to jump, where is it at? I'm going to go to... So this is Babylon chapter 50, verse 9. So it says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon. Now, keep in mind, Babylon back then didn't get destroyed this way. Babylon, the land, it was transitioned to another kingdom of another nation ruling in the land of Babylon. But it says here in this chapter about Babylon and other chapters, it says that Babylon should not be inhabited again. Now, Babylon, ancient Babylon is not around, but the land is inhabited. It's modern day Iraq. So that's not talking about Babylon back then because it didn't get destroyed. What arrows from one side of like the country, like it's talking about obviously a land. It's gonna be a land that's real far from where other countries are shooting the arrows. So that means that those missiles represent the arrows that was the nuclear missiles. The time we in now. And now who's everybody not really feeling right now for the most part? America. It says, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Because what none is going, they all going to meet the target, which is over here, and in Israel too. Because Israel and America, they in big cahoots with each other. All right, and it says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. And you read that in NLT, it says, Babylonia will be looted until the attackers are gutted with loot. I, the Lord, have spoken, because what? It's completely wiped out. Completely wiped out. And it says in verse 11, it says, because you were glad, because you rejoice, O ye destroyers of mine heritage. What? Who was the Lord's heritage? The Israelites. What happened to the Israelites over here in this land? We were destroyed. We came over, we were destroyed from our heritage. We were discontinued from our heritage. We didn't know we were the Israelites, but now we at the end, now we know. But from the beginning of this kingdom of known as America, Babylon, the Great, we did not know ourselves. But but the Lord said, what? You should remember yourselves in the land of your captivity. We came over here in captivity. Cargo slave ships, the lynchings, the mutilations. We went through hell over here and still going through hell. It said, oh, you destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat as a heifer at grass and bellow as bull. Because you got rich all that. You devils, you elites, you eat them. How you think they got so rich? Off of the free labor of the Israelites. No other nation served slavery over here. Nothing happened to no other nation like what happened to us over here. And over here. Because you other nations, you came over here and you profited. I'm going to jump down to verse 13. So it says, because of the wrath of the Lord, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wildly desolate. Every one that go by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. And that goes to show how that's not talking about ancient Babylon land. Because like I said, that's the land of Iraq. But this land, it said that it should be wildly desolate. So when you read that in the NLT, it says, because of the Lord's anger, Babylon will become a deserted wasteland. All who pass by will be horrified and will gasp at the destruction they see there. That's not how ancient Babylon went out. It didn't become wildly desolate. It didn't become a wasteland. Babylon the Great is this land. Babylon that's in Revelation the 18th chapter, that's the Babylon talking about in Jeremiah the 50th chapter. That Babylon, those are the same Babylons, the horde. The horde of Revelation, the 19th chapter, the 18th chapter. Matter of fact, let's get it. So Revelation chapter 18, verse 1, and it reads, and it says, and the top of the caption at the top of this chapter of Revelation 18, it says, Babylon is fallen. Now, at this time, John the Revelator, he's way after Babylon. He's way after Babylon, and the land of Babylon was still inhabited back then. So it says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become a habitation of devils, and a hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Now that Babylon that John is talking about is the same Babylon that Jeremiah was talking about. Because Jeremiah was around during the Babylonian Empire, but that Babylonian Empire, that land, was inhabited after the Babylonians went out of power. And it says, verse 3 says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. That's all these other nations got rich off of America, not ancient Babylon. And I'm pretty sure there was like some whatever prophets back then, but not the way it's talked about here. It said it says, for all nations have drunken the wine of the wrath of fornication. The American dream, the American way, the American dollar, the American mentality, because you got a bunch of nations over here right now. You got all nations that's living over here. You got all nations over here that want to, or nation, and they still want to come over here. You got Elam over here. You got Ishmael over here. You got Moab over here. You got Ammon over here. You got Japhet over here. You got all the other nations, and they all are made rich and drunk off of the wrath, like all the shit that America, the influence that America has on earth, they all drunk in that cup. And it says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague. Now, what's going to be the ultimate plague she's going to receive? That fire. Which ironically, these other nations are getting ready. Their nukes ready. I'm going to jump down to verse 8. And it says, this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 8. And it says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord, Lord God, YAHAWASHI, who judgeth her. And what fire? And what fire is that? That's not how Babylon was destroyed. That's not how ancient Babylon went out. And like I said, John the Revelator, the book of Revelations is way after Babylon came out of, its, his top being on top. And that land was inhabited again. And that land is still inhabited to this day. So the Babylon that Jeremiah was talking about is the same Babylon that John is talking about and writing about. Talking about going to be burned with fire. And before it gets burned with fire, it's going to be brought down low. That's why America is crumbling as we speak. You got businesses closing. You got people at odds with each other. The cruel Lord. You got all the other countries in the world not fucking with America. It don't got the same pull it once had, and that's part of what the Lord said. I'm gonna bring thee down, and your pride, man. Cause you American proud and proud to be American, and yeah, America this and the greatest country ever. No, it's not. It's actually probably one of the worst countries now. Yes, it's still yeah, you can still like come here and do whatever, but at the end of the day, the well is running dry. It's not too much more progression. There's not no much more prosperity for America, man. That's why you got all these people on social media talk about their despair with America. Shit is too expensive. You spending money on other nations. You just bring a war. There's civil unrest. So this shit is fucked up. It's over. And these are the signs that the Lord said He was going to bring on this place before He brought it down entirely. Destroy from within, and then ultimately that send that fire, which was those nuclear missiles, and then the fire YAHAWASHI and the angels coming with. That's the judgment for America. That's how it ends. That's the future. And that future is very close. That day is approaching soon. All right? So I'm reading the NLT. So there's a Revelation chapter 18, verse 8, and it says, therefore these plagues will overtake her in a single day. That didn't happen to Babylon. It said death and mourning and famine. She will be completely consumed by fire. For the Lord God, YAHAWASHI, who judges her, is mighty. She should be consumed, and it's going to be one day. This is going to be over quick. The Lord said it's speedy riddance. You've had enough time. You've been running amok. It's no more. It's going to be no delay. It's already set for a particular day, a particular hour, a particular time, and that time is approaching quick. And each day we're getting closer to that day. Each day that passes, we're getting closer to that day happening. You see what's happening with America. America is fucked up right now. America is down. It's falling, and it's not going to get back up. That's what people don't understand. Like they talk about, oh, we got to do this to make America. No, America's never going to be what it once was. It's past its time. It's an old whore. That pussy not gonna get as wet as it once was. No, you know what I'm saying? This is a wrap. And it says, verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, these other nations, other countries, and live deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Because why? They said what? Now our prosperity is over. Because it said what? It said they were made rich by the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So they were made rich off of America. America's the whore of Babylon. So they're going to see their property. So once that happens, it's going to be like, damn, what next? And on top of that is how it gets destroyed. These other nations, they're going to see YAHAWASHI destroy America. They're going to see the destruction of America. They're going to see how it goes down. They're going to send their own nukes. And remember, these other nations, they're going to fight YAHAWASHI too. So it's going to be mayhem. It's going to be all out mayhem on the day of the Lord and in the days shortly before the day of the Lord. It's going to be complete mayhem. It's mayhem right now, and it's only going to continue to escalate and get worse and worse and worse. Oops. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 10. It says, standing afar off for the fear for torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, which is America, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. It was only 1 hour, and that 1 hour, the episode of a show, a TV show, that the Lord gonna destroy this whole place. Look, you look at America. This is a great landmass, and the Lord says it's only gonna take him an hour to devour this shit with fire. So let me see what that's in the NLT. So when you read that in NLT, it says, this Revelation chapter 18, verse 10, it says, they will stand at a distance, terrified by her great torment. They will cry out, how terrible for you, O Babylon, you great city. In a single moment, YAHAWASHI judgment came on you. This is one particular place. Babylon is not talking about the whole earth. This is one particular place. It's one particular place that, and when you go into the descriptions of Babylon, the nation were made rich. Now, don't all the other nations get rich off of America? Isn't that why they still just allowing America to even be what they are now? Because why they profit so much? That this, remember, the America has leverage on other countries because why? What they do for the other countries like China, Russia, they all make money. But at the end of the day, they don't something like you. At the end of the day, man, the juice ain't being worth the squeeze now for America, man. But America's still acting like it's as a profitable whore as it once was, and it's not. They making moves over in these other countries to where, yo, America's not as much needed as it once was. But now America needs to be still fulfilled like a whore. Like just because an old whore still want to get paid. But you know, they causing too much riffraff on the earth, man. America is the cancer of the earth, but you know, still these other countries, Europe and Russia, they still all Edomites too. And the Lord said the whole house of Esau gonna go down, man. So it's not like America's gonna be destroyed and y'all all gonna function how y'all are now. It said the whole house of Esau, the kingdom of Esau, is all you niggas. Your whole kingdom is divided. I don't care if you're Russian, European, you're Swiss, Polish, Finland, Swedish, whatever the fuck. Y'all all Edomites. So once America goes down, y'all all go down after it. Because Yahushua gonna come back and he's gonna take domain on the earth. That's what you don't understand. That's what I said they have not heard. They don't understand that, yo, none of y'all got next. We got next. The Israelites got next. The people that's at the very bottom got next to rule on earth. And our rule is gonna be forever. Under who the world is gonna be called Jesus Christ, whose name is Yahushua. And he's gonna continue to bring America down and continue to bring Esau divided more against each other. So let me see if I can a little more of these articles. Nah, I gotta see let's end off read this article. Let's see. Hold on, so I need to. Okay, here we go. Yep. So this is from BBC News, and it says Trump tariff threat over Greenland unacceptable. European leaders say, "Oh, you bitch." They want you to be subscribed. Oh, you fuck boys. It's always the good ones that have the. Oh, you bitch, man. Hold up. Let's see what it. All the day want you to have subscriptions. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, so this is from ABC News, and it reads, it says, Europe united in face of Trump's Greenland threats, tariffs, EU chief says. Now, EU is the 10 horns, 10 kings that ruled, that were allied with the horde. So this is from January 18th, which is today. So it says, London, it says European leaders hit back at U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement that he would impose sanctions on nations that deployed small numbers of military forces to Greenland last week, as the president continues his push to acquire the Arctic territory. Trump said Saturday that a 10% tariff will be imposed on all goods sent to the U.S. from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland, which are all either part of the EU or part of NATO or both. And it said Trump said the new tariffs will come into force on February 1st and will increase to 25% on June 1st. The president said the measures would remain in place until the U.S. is able to purchase Greenland. So there you go. And so how is this going to end? What's going to happen with this? Excuse me. It says Greenland is a self-governing territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. Trump first raised the prospect of acquiring the minerals-rich island in his first term. Danish and Greenlandic politicians have repeatedly rebuffed such proposals. It says European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Saturday said the bloc's members will meet Trump's pressure as a united front. We have consistently underlined our shared transatlantic interests in peace and security in the Arctic, including through NATO. She wrote in a post to X, the pre-coordinated Danish exercise conducted with allies responds to the need to strengthen Arctic security and poses no threat to anyone. Tariffs will undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. Europe will remain united, coordinated, and committed to upholding its sovereignty, von der Leyen said. Kaja Kallas, the EU's foreign affairs chief, suggested in a post to X that the escalating tension between U.S. and the European allies is a boon for Moscow and Beijing. China and Russia must be having a field day, she wrote. They are the ones who benefit from divisions among allies. If Greenland security is at risk, we can address this inside NATO. But it said terrorists risk making Europe and the United States poorer and undermine our shared prosperity, Collins wrote, suggesting that Führer was distracting from allied efforts to support Ukraine against Russia's ongoing full-scale invasion. The 8 countries, all NATO members, threatened with the tariffs, issued a joint statement on Sunday saying they stand in full solidarity with the Kingdom of Denmark and the people of Greenland. The statement says terrorists undermine transatlantic relations and carry the risk of a dangerous downward spiral. The signatories added that they are committed to strengthening security in the Arctic region as a shared transatlantic interest, and in the context, the plain military exercise in Greenland poses a threat to no one. It says EU pushback against Trump came alongside criticism from national leaders. So there you have it. There goes Saints are divided very much. And it says all NATO members. NATO, the beast. NATO, allies with America, EU. You got EU and people of NATO that's not part of the EU or EU members that's not part of the NATO. They're still all in a conglomerate with each other. They're all allies because it's just North Atlantic Edomites and European Edomites in Europe. But you have some of the North American Edomites that's part of Europe or part of NATO. I mean, the NATO part of the EU, or vice versa. But they all together. They're all Edomites. It's all the house of Esau. But you see what America is making himself drawn from their allies, man. That's not a good sign. That's not a good direction for the country. I mean, it's good for us because it goes to show that we're closer to the actual end, man. Because this right here is big. This is heavy stuff right here. But with that, Lord willing, is edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, KAKADASH. Double honors to the Apostle of Israel, aka the Apostle of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach his truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.